Imagine opening your fridge and feeling a tiny stab of guilt just from looking at what's inside. The eggs, the cheese, the butter, the peanut butter, the white rice on the shelf, the popcorn in the cupboard. You've heard at some point that every single one of them is bad for you. Too much fat, too many carbs, too much salt, too much sugar. It's like the entire grocery store has been put on trial, and almost everything you actually enjoy has been found guilty. But what if the story you've been told about some of these foods is only half true? What if a lot of the bad guys are actually misunderstood? Healthy in the right amounts, in the right context, prepared the right way. Tonight, we're going to walk back into that fridge, into your pantry, into the noisy nutrition debates, and quietly, gently rewrite the script on 20 foods everyone loves to blame. Not to tell you to eat them recklessly, not to pretend that anything goes, but to show you that between always and never, there is a powerful middle ground where real life and real health actually happens. Let's start with the one that got dragged through the mud for decades: eggs. For years, people believed that eating eggs would push your cholesterol through the roof, but science has shifted. For most healthy people, an egg a day doesn't raise heart attack or stroke risk the way we once feared. The cholesterol in eggs does not translate directly into cholesterol in your bloodstream the way saturated and trans fats do. Inside that shell is complete protein, those 9 essential amino acids your body can't make on its own. The yolk that so many people used to throw away, that's where you find choline for brain health, vitamins A, D, E, and B12, plus healthy fats that keep you satisfied. It doesn't mean unlimited omelets, especially if you already have heart disease or diabetes, but it does mean that a couple of eggs for breakfast in a mostly balanced diet are a far cry from the danger sign they were made out to be. Now picture a plain baked potato on a plate. No sour cream, no deep fryer, no mountain of cheese, just a simple potato, maybe a drizzle of olive oil, some herbs, a pinch of salt. Somewhere along the way, potatoes got lumped in with French fries and chips as if all forms were equally harmful. The truth is more nuanced. A potato with its skin on brings potassium, vitamin C, and some fiber. When it's baked, boiled, or roasted rather than fried, it can be part of a healthy plate, especially if you surround it with vegetables and protein. It's not that potatoes are magical, it's that how you cook them changes everything. Fries 3 times a week, different story. But a plain potato with your dinner, a few nights here and there, that's not the villain. That's just food. Sitting in your cupboard, there may be a jar that scares people almost as much as it comforts them. Peanut butter. Yes, it's calorie dense. Yes, it contains fat. But look closer. Natural peanut butter, just peanuts and maybe a little salt, is rich in unsaturated fats, the kind that help support heart health when they replace saturated fats. It offers protein, fiber, magnesium, and vitamin E in every spoonful. The trick is portion and quality. A measured spoon on whole grain toast, blended into a smoothie, or paired with apple slices is a completely different story from mindlessly eating half a jar with sugary jelly every night. Peanut butter isn't the enemy, it's a powerful tool if you use it with intention instead of fear or impulse. Dark chocolate might be the most surprising member of the "it's actually okay" club. We're not talking about candy bars filled with caramel and nougat, we're talking about dark chocolate with 70% cocoa or higher. In that darker, slightly bitter square, you get flavonols and antioxidants that may support blood vessel health, along with minerals like iron and magnesium. A small piece of dark chocolate after dinner can satisfy a sweet tooth without sending your blood sugar on a wild ride. It doesn't mean you eat half a bar every night and call it healthy, but it does mean you no longer have to fear that a modest square of good quality chocolate is undoing all your good choices. When you give yourself permission to enjoy small, mindful treats, you're less likely to swing between strict restriction and full-on binging. Now let's talk about the drink that fuels entire mornings: coffee. Coffee has had a reputation that swings between miracle and menace, but for most adults, moderate intake, around 2 to 4 cups a day, has been linked in research to a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, some heart conditions, and even certain neurodegenerative diseases. It's rich in antioxidants and can improve alertness, mood, and performance. Of course, context matters. If your coffee is really a dessert in disguise, loaded with syrups, whipped cream, and sugar, then the benefits get buried under the extras. If caffeine keeps you awake at night or makes you jittery, it's not serving you. But a simple cup of coffee, enjoyed earlier in the day without excess sugar, can be part of a healthy rhythm, not a guilty pleasure. The same "we went too far" story applies to full-fat dairy. Whole milk, full-fat yogurt, real cheese, even butter from grass-fed cows. These foods were pushed out during the fat-free era. Yet the research on dairy fats is more nuanced than the old headlines suggest. Yogurt and cheese, especially fermented varieties, may support weight control and heart health when eaten in moderation. Full-fat yogurt brings probiotics for gut health and fat that helps you feel satisfied longer. With cheese, it's about quality and quantity. A thin slice of good cheese on whole grain bread, some feta crumbled over a salad, a small portion of aged cheddar enjoyed slowly. These are different from processed slices piled thick on fast food. Butter is still rich in saturated fat, so it's something to use sparingly, but a pat on steamed vegetables or a little in a pan does not belong in the same category as a diet dominated by deep-fried foods and heavy cream sauces. Red meat might be the most emotionally charged food on this list. People either swear by it or swear it off. The reality? Lean cuts of red meat, eaten in modest amounts a few times a week, can provide iron, zinc, and vitamin B12 in forms your body easily uses. Those nutrients support energy, mood, immunity, and blood health. What causes trouble is excess and processing. Large portions of red meat every day, or frequent consumption of heavily processed sausages, hot dogs, and deli meats. Choosing a small portion of grilled lean beef or lamb alongside a plate full of vegetables and whole grains is very different from making processed meat the centerpiece of most meals. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to tip the balance. Then there are the fats that people didn't know what to do with: avocados and coconut oil. Avocados were once labeled too fatty until we understood that their main fat is monounsaturated, the kind associated with better heart health when it replaces saturated fats. In that creamy green flesh, you also get potassium, folate, fiber, and antioxidants. An avocado slice on toast, cubes in a salad, blended into a smoothie. These can help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins from other foods. Coconut oil, on the other hand, is trickier. It's high in saturated fat, and major heart associations still recommend limiting it as a primary cooking fat. But in small amounts, especially when used alongside a diet rich in vegetables, whole grains, and unsaturated fats like olive oil, it doesn't have to be forbidden. A spoonful here and there for flavor is different from putting it in everything because someone online said it's miracle fuel. Again, the pattern of your entire diet matters more than any single ingredient. Popcorn is another food with a split personality. In the movie theater, drenched in butter-flavored topping and salt, it earns its junk food label. But plain air-popped popcorn is actually a whole grain. 3 cups come with fiber, crunch, and fewer calories than most chips. A drizzle of olive oil, a sprinkle of herbs, maybe a little real cheese grated on top, and suddenly it's a snack that loves you back. The same pattern shows up with white rice, bread, and pasta. White rice is easier to digest for some people and can be helpful for athletes, those with sensitive stomachs, or during certain illnesses. Whole wheat pasta offers fiber, B vitamins, and minerals that help stabilize energy and appetite. Sourdough and whole grain breads provide complex carbs and nutrients, and traditional fermentation can improve digestibility. Carbs were never the villain. The real issue is when they come mostly from refined, ultra-processed sources with almost no fiber, eaten in large amounts with little protein or vegetables. A bowl of whole wheat pasta with beans, vegetables, and olive oil is a completely different story from a plate piled high with plain white pasta and a sugary sauce. Bread isn't the problem, the pattern is. Canned beans, dried fruit, and even salt all tell the same story: nuance. Canned beans are incredibly convenient, rich in plant protein, fiber, iron, and magnesium. Rinsing them in water can significantly lower the sodium content. Suddenly, they become one of the easiest, cheapest ways to build a healthy meal, tossed into salads, stews, tacos, and grain bowls. Dried fruit concentrates natural sugars, yes, but it also concentrates nutrients and fiber. A small handful of unsweetened dried apricots, raisins, or dates can deliver quick energy and antioxidants. The key is to treat them like a powerful, compact food, not a bottomless snack. Mix them with nuts, sprinkle them on yogurt, add them to oatmeal. Portion is the power. Salt, too, is not purely evil. Your body needs sodium to regulate fluid balance, nerve signals, and muscle contractions. Problems arise when most of your salt comes hidden in packaged, restaurant, and fast foods. When you cook at home with mostly whole ingredients and add sensible amounts of salt yourself, you have far more control. You can enjoy flavor without constantly overshooting your needs. Finally, let's wade into the ocean for a moment. Shellfish. Shrimp, mussels, clams, oysters, scallops, they were once shunned by many because of their cholesterol content. But like eggs, the relationship between dietary cholesterol and blood cholesterol is more complex than we used to think. Shellfish are rich in protein, low in calories, and loaded with nutrients like zinc, selenium, B12, and often omega-3 fats. For many people, especially when prepared simply, grilled, steamed, or lightly sautéed, shellfish can be a deeply nourishing part of a healthy pattern. Of course, allergies change the equation completely, and deep-fried seafood, drenched in batter and oil, shifts it too. But as part of a balanced diet, shellfish are far more friend than foe. So where does all of this leave you, standing in your kitchen, trying to figure out what to eat? It leaves you with a different kind of rulebook. One that doesn't stamp foods with permanent labels like good or bad, but asks better questions. How often do you eat it? How much do you eat at once? How is it prepared? What does the rest of your plate look like? A spoonful of peanut butter? An egg for breakfast? A baked potato with its skin? A handful of air-popped popcorn? A square of dark chocolate after dinner? These aren't nutritional sins. They're pieces of a much bigger puzzle. A life where food brings both health and pleasure. Where you don't spend your days terrified of every bite, but you also don't ignore what your body needs. If there's one message hiding inside all 20 of these foods, it's this: context is everything. Not one of them guarantees health. Not one of them guarantees harm. What matters is the pattern you build day after day, the mix of plants, proteins, fats, and whole foods on your plate, and the way you move, sleep, and manage stress around them. So the next time you hear someone say, "You can't eat that, it's bad for you," take a breath. Look deeper. Ask yourself, is this really the whole story? Or is this one of those surprisingly healthy foods that just needs the right portion, preparation, and place in your life? Because when you stop fearing every bite and start understanding your food, something shifts. You gain freedom, you gain balance, and you give your body a chance to thrive, not on fear and restriction, but on wisdom, moderation, and joy. And if you want more of this kind of clarity, real talk, real science, and real-life food stories, stay close. Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep choosing what truly nourishes you, your body, your mind, and your peace. Our journey with you continues, one bite at a time, here with Vital Dynasty.